Well, hey everybody. I've got actually great news. Uh, Elias just got a hold of me, and he is going to be joining us. So, um, give him a couple minutes to get set up and get called in on Skype. And while we're at it, I can say hi to whoever I see pop up in the chat. Poor Conservatives here. Nice to see you, man. Glad you set that notification, or that reminder, rather. Um, did you actually get a YouTube notification? Beretta Man, hey, how you doing? Feels a little weird having the headphones on and not having anybody talking to me yet. So, let's see. Get things set up here for when Elias calls in. He literally just got a hold of me at I think it was like 8:57 and said, hey, I'm actually home and I can join you. So he's just getting things squared away with family stuff and getting into his home office. So it's a really good subject to have him here. He understands some of the legal stuff a lot better than I do. For me, I see things and I'm like, I know these aren't right, and Elias tends to know why they aren't right. And he also catches me on sometimes where I'm like, I don't like this and I don't know why I don't like this, and he says, well, it's actually illegal what they're doing, and I don't like it when he says that. Always remember, folks, though, that just because it's legal does not mean that it is moral. That's an important takeaway for every bit of life. So, Jeremy Wilson, how are you, man? Hey, how things go at Christmas time? How's your wife doing? Okay, just an update with Elias. He said he's tried to launch Skype and it decided to reinstall. So hold one. We're going to let people get in here. 2A does this every Friday. 2A, are you here yet? Paging 2A EDU? I haven't seen him. I know he'll say something as soon as he gets in. Oh man, I am so sorry, brother. Uh, I can't imagine. Praying for you. That's all I can do. And I'm so sorry. New Ghost Recon. I haven't played a Ghost Recon since Advanced Warfighter, I think. No, Jeremy, I just saw your last message, man. Store up the memories. My heart's breaking for you, brother. A 2A bellows like a llama, but if you give him the camera, he'll have a llama. Elias is going to mess around, and I'm going to have a whole cup of coffee gone before he gets here. Oh, I really don't want to launch into this constitutional considerations until Elias is here. All right, I just got a notification that he's ready to go. Hey man, how's it going? I'm doing all right. Oh, I'm talking to two people at once. So everybody, Elias just joined on the call, and I'm going to see if we can't get him onto the stream. All right. Why is this not doing what I needed to do? Because why would it, right? All right. Skype says we have NDI. So why are you not showing up here? Properties. All the times this has worked perfectly well, and now it doesn't want to. Oh. It's because Skype is being excellent. All right, and try this again. Well, that's okay, Beretta, man. You just got flooded with a ton of chat. Every time I tried to connect to this call with Elias, my Skype crashes. So wow, this is nifty. And here I thought I was ahead of the curve today. All right. All right, third time's a charm? Maybe? All right. Every time I try to connect to this NDI stream, it crashes. So it probably will again. Well, you know, family's important, obviously. And there it goes. All right. Everybody in the video Hold one. I'm going to close out my streaming software and I will be right back. All right, guys, I think I'm back. So we will see. I think Elias is just going to join us in the live chat tonight. Skype isn't working out for us. So anyhow, thanks so much for joining. Welcome to tonight. As you see, we're going to be talking about the ATF's recent reclassification of both the Franklin Armory Reclamation, which 2A EDU did a video on last week, I think, the day after it happened. And then here very recently, we also had the ATF coming in and changing how they want to classify the Fostech origin SBV. So, let's start with, in case you somehow haven't seen this, last week, Franklin Armory announced, excuse me, that they had received a letter from the ATF changing the classification of the Franklin Armory, I think I said Fostech, I meant Franklin Armory Reclamation. And the Reclamation is an interesting firearm. What it is the barrel has grooves and lands, but they're not actually rifled. They don't impart any kind of twist to the projectile. So it's like a straight rifling, if you will. I can get rid of this since Elias isn't able to join on a video chat. So anyway, with this straight rifling, that obviously means that the barrel is not smoothbore. So it doesn't fit the traditional definition, of a shotgun. And because the grooves and lands are not spiraling, it's also not a rifle. And so the ATF originally had said, and that's what I had up there on screen, originally they said, well, this doesn't fit the definition of a short barrel shotgun because it's not a smoothbore, and so they allowed it to be sold as a firearm. So firearm is a wonky device that doesn't fit any existing it doesn't fit existing definitions, and so doesn't get regulated the same way. And hey, Elias has joined us. You can see him down there. Liberty Review. Welcome, Elias. I'm glad you can join us in some form or fashion. Next time we'll figure out what was happening. My Skype probably needs updated, truth be told. Anyway, so the ATF then sent a retraction letter of sorts to the to Franklin Armory, and they said, well, you know, the Reformation doesn't fit the definition of a short barrel shotgun under the National Firearm Act of 1934, but it does instead fit the definition of a short barrel shotgun in the Gun Control Act of 1968, I think it is. And if anybody has these dates and you want to help me out here, you throw that in the chat. Anyway, so what they've effectively done with the Reclamation is it's not illegal to own, but there's no method to transfer it. So there's no legal way to sell this device. There's no legal way whether that's person to person or from an FFL who happens to have one on shelf. And it's questionable about taking them across state lines and things now. Anybody who has a short barrel rifle, a registered short barrel rifle, knows that you have to get permission from the Crown to travel with your firearm. So that was frustrating enough. Then, I think it was the very next day, as a matter of fact, I saw on social media, Fostech received a letter from the ATF declaring that the Fostech Origin SBV was being changed in classification from a firearm, which made it legal to own, to a, it's actually now, it falls into the category of any other weapon, which requires a tax stamp, a destructive device, which requires a tax stamp, and a short barrel shotgun, which requires a tax stamp. So there are methods for owning these, but this is now a regulated item. And so overnight, law-abiding citizens have been transformed into felons with who knows how short of a window to correct this problem not of their making, which is all very frustrating. What's more is, I don't know if any of you guys have looked at the Fostech Origin. I saw a Military Arms Channel video on both the long barrel Fostech Origin and the SBV, and just thought those were cooler than crap. A little bit like 2A Lynx 12 gauge, only I don't. There's something about it that's cooler. It's kind of an AK kind of patterned shotgun. Anyhow, so Fostech, so I looked into those. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked there. And they run someplace north of $2,000, somewhere up into $2,500. We're talking SP5 territory in cost. And it's now 100% illegal for you to own. Luckily, the ATF has included this very helpful infographic telling you how to legally destroy. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me put that back up there. Telling you how to legally destroy your $2,500 firearm. I don't know. I've started working on a form letter that I'm going to link to you guys, and it's kind of for you guys to send to your congressional representatives, the ATF, Mr. Trump, who promised that the 8-year attack on our Second Amendment rights was over. And yeah, so that said, let me just paste it in chat here. Okay, this is a very rough draft. Elias and I are collaborating on maybe getting a better version. But until then, if you guys want something to go with to get started with a letter to send to your representatives, state, federal, whomever, it might be a great idea. Remind them that they're not empowered by any kind of right of kings or divine mandate. They govern by the will of the people. And yeah, we're not happy about the way things are going. So there's that. Again, Elias and I are collaborating. Elias has the big brains. He does. And he's given us some information in the chat. But we will have something more solid in the future, but make some noise. And this is, Elias, this is one reason that I wanted to be able to have a conversation with you. My understanding is that written letters are the most effective means of contact because they legally cannot be ignored. You don't have to worry about a spam trap. Every piece of mail that goes into our congressional representatives has to have human eyes laid on it. I don't know if that's true. I could just be an old wives' tale. But nonetheless, there's something personal and visceral, that's the word I want. Something visceral about sending a letter. And I know that the price of stamps is getting outrageous, but 55-cent postage stamps are a lot cheaper than $200 tax stamps. I'm just super unhappy about all this. Anyway, and I've completely ignored the chat here, so let me go back through here. Beretta Man, yes, 80% lowers having to go through an FFL in Pennsylvania. Yeah. We've all known. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna go with two things here. Loopholes. We know that loopholes can be closed. I'm an IT guy, and for a while I had an iPhone, and this was back when, to get real functionality out of your iPhone, if you were used to working with a standard computer system or a mobile device that operated more like a computer, like the BlackBerry OS of the day, you had to jailbreak an iPhone. And in order to do so, you had to take advantage of a loophole. And you always knew that a loophole could get closed. So you always had to wait and let somebody who had a device that they could be a guinea pig with be the guinea pig. So we know we're dealing with loopholes when it comes to, okay, this is a short barrel shotgun, but it's not technically a short barrel shotgun because of this reason and this reason and this reason. Okay, this is 3 holes and 2 pieces of plastic away from being a handgun frame, but because of those 3 holes not being there, it's not a handgun frame. That said, we shouldn't have to be jumping through these loopholes at all. Somehow we've lost sight, we as a nation, not we as Second Amendment advocates, we've lost sight of shall not be infringed. And a big part of my problem with all of this is it's engendering this culture of, well, don't ask for clarification, because when you do, it just makes the ATF look at it again. And then they're going to change their mind because they get so tired of people asking for clarification. That's their job. Okay? If every man, woman, and child in the United States wants to ask the same question so that they're not a felon, that's their job. Okay? And this whole legislation by fiat and by the whims, whichever way the wind blows, it's driving me bonkers. Okay, so I don't know. Can I use this particular grip on my AR pistol that has a pistol brace? Well, if there's, don't ask the ATF because they're going to go after pistol braces next. So I have the choice of, okay, free men don't ask permission, and that's the problem. We're having to ask permission. But legitimately, I'd rather not be a felon over something small, what piece of plastic I do or don't have on a gun. And so, I should be able to ask without fear that, I bothered Dad too many times, now he's going to take away my toy. Depending on the administration. Well, Elias, yes and no. We talked about this earlier. The problem isn't that the laws are open to interpretation. The problem is that the laws are on the book in the first place. Shall not be infringed. Well, that guy has a cruise missile. Okay. No, that's a good point. They have to have the ambiguous language because it's the only way to get legislation through. Because no one, and that's because everybody is trying to protect their little fiefdoms. And that goes back to we need congressional term limits. Because then their job, I'm here for this amount of time to do this job, and then I'm done. And, no massive retirement packages. When you're serving the country, you draw whatever wage you get for serving the country, and then you're done. Anyway. See, my problem, I've jumped all over the place here. The problem I have is, first it was bump stocks. All right? And I'm not super interested in a bump stock. Okay, it is what it is, but it was a good target for them because there's so many people who have an attitude like me. All right, and then you have the Franklin Armory Reclamation. Well, it uses a very specific round. If you haven't seen it, it's shaped like one of the little Nerf footballs with a tail on it because it has to have that to stabilize in flight. Since it doesn't have spin stabilization, so once again. It affects a relatively small number of people. And then the Origin SBV, it affects a relatively small number of people. And so they're chipping away at our liberties by going after things that people don't, the vast majority of people, unless we can get everybody on board with, you have to care about this today because it's something else tomorrow. We've heard the example, most of us have watched enough of 2A EDU streams that we've heard the example of the 7N6. Now, I think I mentioned it last week. Enough people didn't care that 7N6 got banned, the import, and so now we don't have 7-center round 5.45 by 3.9. They tried to go after the M855 in the same way, and people rose up and lost their crap. Well, in much the same way, they're going after bump stocks. And this one or two particular weapons that admittedly got approved by a loophole. Well, what's next? My guess is they're going to go after the little shotgun pistols, like the Mossberg Shockwave is what it's called, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? Sound off in the chat, because if you don't, I will find a picture real quick on Google. So that's something else. It fires a 12 gauge round, but it's only got like an 8-inch barrel on it or something, or 10-inch barrel, and it's got a pistol grip. And there's no means really for affixing a stock. So it's in that gray area of being a firearm. All right. They'll grab those, I think. Then they're going to go after the next least common thing that I can see them going after is they're going to reclassify binary triggers as a machine gun. Yeah, they are a smoothbore Beretta, man. I'm not denying that. But so is the Origin SBV. All right, now it's got a pistol brace on it, and it's got that vertical, if I remember right, it's got a vertical foregrip. So that may be where things ran afoul. But I think what it is it was, I don't know. See, this is where everything gets so murky. If it's over 26 inches total length, with a pistol brace, you can put a vertical foregrip on it. See, it's so goofy, right? Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and call it. Binary triggers, though, are on that chopping block. Because with one trigger pull, you have to release it, So when you release it, you get a second shot. So that's one trigger pull, you get 2 bullets. They're going to label that a machine gun. If we don't start digging our heels in. And then the one that everybody, all of the anti-gunners are going bananas over right now are the pistol braces. Now, Gun Owners of America is part of that bill to deregulate short barrel rifles. Now, I've already said I don't think that's going to go through. As a matter of fact, I think, okay, where's my tin foil? Tin foil. Well, I mean, does bubble wrap protect the brainwaves? There we go. All right. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a shooting with a short barrel rifle. I'm going to go ahead and call it. And then after that gets taken off the table, they're going to move to just reclassify pistol braces as short barrel rifles. Sorry, I'm reading the comments over here. Yeah, the domino argument, we fought in Korea and Vietnam to stop communism from spreading. So essentially the smaller places of communism. And we got bogged down in those places. And ironically, communism has been introduced as progressive, liberal bias in the United States. Oh yeah, escalate up, taking away all gun rights. Yeah, so pistol braces really is a thorn in their side. Never mind that in 2018, in all of 2018, rifles of any kind were only used in 200 some odd murders. You were 3 times more likely to be killed with hands and feet. Okay, short barrel, long barrel. Of course, then the question is how does with pistol braces technically making a firearm a pistol, how does that figure into the statistics? And I don't know. I'm not I'm not in the FBI crime lab crunching numbers. But I'm willing to bet that the law is going to be reworded, that if anything fires a center fire cartridge designed to be a rifle round or blah, 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 and has these features, that it's considered a short barrel rifle regardless. Unless we as the gun-owning American public can collectively come together and stop with our infighting and present a united front. I don't know. Sorry, I got notifications popping up on screen. I started touching on 80% lowers, and I mentioned that we knew there were a loophole. The lower receiver thing, in general, is just dumb, Beretta man. So the last lower receiver I purchased at a bigger box store was from Rural King. I really like Rural King. I've mentioned that before. So I filled out my 4473, and then they have a policy, like a lot of department style stores that still sell firearms, that when you've purchased a firearm, the manager walks you to the door with your purchase. And it was way back, and I want to specify way back in like late 2000, like the first decade of the 2000s. I purchased my Mossberg 500 from Dick's Sporting Goods, and they had the same kind of policy. Anyway, we had a good laugh about that. The fact that this piece of aluminum with a few holes drilled in it required the same kind of policy as any complete firearm. And then what's more asinine than that is if I take that very same piece of aluminum, and this is a completed lower, mind you, and I drill 2 1/8-inch holes in it, I'm now in possession of an illegal machine gun. Regardless of the fact that there's no trigger, there's no chamber, there's no barrel, an empty stripped lower with 2 extra 1/8-inch holes drilled in it is an unregistered machine gun. The laws as a whole are asinine. I really think that the groups like Gun Owners of America, and I read that there was a Pennsylvania firearms owners group that are working on suing the state over that. So I don't know how that's going to turn out for you guys. It frustrates me that there's no savings to getting an 80% lower or a P80 Glock frame than there is buying a completed stripped lower, with the exception of unless you have to pay an FFL fee. If I'm doing 20% of the work, I should be saving 20% of the cost, but that's just me. There's no real voice. Guns, rights groups. Yeah. That's true. It has all become about lobbying, and which goes right back to, and it's all going to come from somewhere, I think, but it goes back to we need term limits, and we should really be looking into these congressional representatives who are making something like $170,000, $180,000 a year, whatever it is, and their net worth is increasing exponentially above that. Oh, Elias, I absolutely. That would actually go a lot like what I believe it was Austria used to have, that every male at the age of 18 who was able-bodied was required to go into the reserves. And they went through basic training, and they went through all of that, and then they were a reservist, and their rifle and sidearm were kept with them at home. They had one of the lowest crime rates in the world, because who's going to kick in somebody's door when they know that the people who live there both have firearms and have been trained to use them in a combat role? Once again, an armed society is a polite society. Yeah. Yeah, a year after we got the Second Amendment, the Militia Act. And that's just one more thing. I've been called a right-wing extremist more than once recently. If the shoe fits, I guess. But I don't think it's extreme to think that we have codified the fact that we have liberty. All men are created equal. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, yeah. So then we have to be able to maintain that. And to me, the only law should be the law that with interactions where a person is trying to take another person's liberty. I don't know. I guess that's extreme. That's crazy. But I would rather dangerous liberty than peaceful slavery. All right. I lose subs on this. I always lose subs when I call out. Hey, 2A, if it makes you feel any better, I don't know I know you said you don't have a lot of time to watch YouTube anymore because you're busy with work and with making your own videos. And I know that you've become quite frustrated with some of the big names in the gun tube, in the gun sphere, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know if you saw this morning, Tim at Military Arms Channel did a video on the Origin SBV. So, yeah, you know, the thing is that the same situations affect all of us. So, and we all have a little bit of a different take on it. So, you know, absolutely go ahead, release it. I've learned a lot from your videos. So I only hope that maybe you can get one or two small nuggets out of my videos. And you know, here's the thing. As much as I enjoy seeing my subscriber count go up, I'm not going to be fake to do that. There's no persona displayed here on Tactical Review. When I say things that happen to be profound and accurate, that's me. When I say stupid things or I'm completely wrong, that's also me. I'm not creative enough to come up with a character and stay in character the whole time. It's just, as much as I enjoy stage acting and stuff, I don't have time, and I definitely don't have a script. 38-minute ramp. Scratch the service. I busted out the Gun Control Act itself and completely proved the ATF. Oh. Yeah, and 2A, that's something, Elias, when the form letter that I linked earlier, there's a lot of things that Elias was, because he actually dug into the NFA and he dug into the Gun Control Act. So he's working on probably a legally more sound rebuttal letter. And, you know, that's why I need friends. Once again, I said at the beginning of the stream, I don't know if you were here yet, that a lot of times I know something's wrong, but I don't know why it's wrong. So, anyhow, hey, M4 Johnny's here. M4, thanks for joining us. I think I now officially have more people in one video at one time than I've had since I started the channel in May. So, yeah, how would you lose subs over saying the bump stock ban was Trump's fault? He specifically went out and said, I don't like these bump stocks, I want them banned. And then the ATF has come back and said that they didn't have the legal standing to reclassify them because it had to be the ATF technology department that did that. The ATF has since admitted that they had no legal standing on that. Mr. Gixer, overall length is measured. Title 1 forearm and measured inch. Yes, Mr. Gixer, but they keep changing that. It used to be that you could measure it with your brace fully collapsed on like an M4. And now it has to be to the end of the receiver extension. And then obviously, unless your muzzle device is pinned and welded, you have to remove that and measure to your muzzle crown. So on an M4 style weapon, that's where your measurement comes from. On your AK pistols, if you have an M4 style buffer tube on it so that you can use like an SB tactical brace, your measurement goes from your muzzle crown to the end of that because it's, I think, because it's permanently fixed. See, and that's the thing. I don't know. But I do know if you have a folding stock, it's to the back of the receiver. Confused yet? Because I am. Because once again, with an AK, it's like one screw in the tang or two screws in the tang, and you can take off your M4 stock adapter. So do you measure to the receiver? Or do you measure to the end of the stock adapter? I don't know. In a perfect world, I could contact the ATF and ask them. But in our screwed up world, if you contact the ATF and ask them, you might screw over your fellow Americans. Literally said 3 times, especially. Okay, we're gonna. And yeah, the Reformation and the Origin SBV have nothing to do with overall length. ATF started out saying yes, it fits in this category of firearm and it's okay, and they have since changed horses in the middle of the stream. Now, Fostech and Franklin Armory are just being awesome stand-up companies, and you can return those items to the manufacturer for a full refund, or in the case of the Origin SBV, you can exchange it for the 18-inch version that's just perfectly legal as a semi-automatic shotgun. So that being the case, though, if I'm going to get an 18-inch AK variant shotgun, AK pattern shotgun, I would think long and hard about taking the refund and buying a much less expensive, more standard AK pattern shotgun. Because I don't know how many, I don't have sales numbers, obviously. I'm going to guess that with the relative price points, that Fostech sold many, many, many more Origin SBVs than they did Fostech Origins. So, and chat has blown up. So, rolling through here. Diehard Trump fans are just, look, you can't vote straight ticket anymore. I don't know that it was ever the smart thing. A lot of times, okay, I find myself on a few major issues that I use as my sounding boards. I find that I almost never find a Democrat candidate that I agree with on my personal major issues. But that doesn't make me a Republican. Both sides, all they care about is their own money and their own power. We have turned our country into an oligarchy. We, the people, are no longer in charge of our government. Because we, the people, are getting lazier and lazier. And I'm guilty. For years, I hate politics. Not because I'm uninterested so much as I see so much stupidity, okay? And this goes back to ignorance is when you just don't know something, and stupidity is kind of willfully applied ignorance. And it's fine when it's something that you don't have, this is dangerous to say, you don't have the time for. Once again, I'm going to use the example, I'm not going to study to be a surgeon. So when it comes to surgery, I maintain my ignorance, and that's a form of stupidity. But I'm also not going to go try to be a surgeon. Well, these folks who are making our laws are ignorant about the things that they're legislating. That's stupid. And that bothers me. And so I don't want to I don't want to waste my time on it because I get angry. I get frustrated. But the problem is that you can choose not to choose, and you still have made a choice. And that's brought us to where we are. All right, I got to dig back in here. Reformation has nothing. You can call someone out and still like them. And it goes more than that. You're not going to agree with anybody 100% of the time. I love and respect my father-in-law like crazy. I mean, I would walk to the ends of the earth for that man. And there's areas that we don't agree. Elias and I, we've got points on theological doctrine where we don't see exactly eye to eye. There's things where, by and large, I mean, we're brothers in arms. We're brothers in the spirit. We're in the faith. But that doesn't mean we agree on everything. If we were all the same person, it'd be really boring. So no, that's the problem though. So many people have their heads so far in an echo chamber. I talked about this last week on my stream that I've got friends who are very, very far left. I say friends, okay? In high school we were good friends, and now we're Facebook friends. And seeing some of their posts make me really frustrated, and yet I refuse to mute them. I refuse to unfriend them, and it's because I hope that maybe sometime I can finally put something into verbiage where they say, oh, I get where you're coming from now, and B, I don't want to stick my head in an echo chamber. And there's a fine line. It gets really frustrating, but that whole thing of not looking at other perspectives is part of the reason that our country is in the mess that it's in. All right, as much as I love the internet, I mean, I wouldn't have any way to communicate with most of you guys without the internet. Elias and I, we live close enough. We've hung out in person once. We're planning another meetup. A lot of you guys just up in Michigan. Lord willing, I will get up there. We're going to get together and we're going to hang out at some point. But I never would have met any of you in the first place without the internet. There's a lot of awesome about it. But unfortunately, see, when I was a kid, if somebody was an actual, like, I don't know, fill in the blank of some antisocial, amoral behavior here, okay? I'm not gonna pick any. My stream's probably flagged enough as it is. Those people would have to go out in the community in some form or fashion and seek each other out before they could start, they'd have to feel through somebody. They'd have to be subjected to other viewpoints before they could find a group of like-minded wackadoodles. Okay, I don't know what you've got in mind there. I've got like 3 in mind. All right, now between the regular internet and the dark web, you can stick your head in an echo chamber full of whatever kind of amoral filth you want to, if you want to, and just indoctrinate yourself to whatever you think you want to until you are an absolute, actual extremist. You never have to leave your house, and then when people do, they're leaving their house to go out and do hateful things because all they've done is reinforce all of this negative, antisocial stuff. All right. Anyway, sorry, little minor rant. Okay. Lose 25. So, okay. Mr. Gixer, I think I've covered the SBV and how it's not overall. Well, I mean, it's overall length, it's barrel length, but the major issue was that is the ATF playing take backsies on that. I think if they would have, from the word go, said, no, this is a short barrel shotgun, you're not going to pull this one over on us, I don't think that there would be the uproar that there is at this point, because overnight, however many of these were sold, these people are now in possession of an illegal short barrel shotgun, which is a major felony that will cost them their gun ownership rights forever. So, okay. Sorry guys, I'm trying to go back through the chat. You guys have been super active, which is awesome, but ready for the 2 giveaway? Yeah, Beretta Man, that's a very real concern, and you're not the first one to voice that when Trump is reelected, he will drop all airs of being pro-2A and just steamroll our Second Amendment rights. guys, I've been nervous about Trump from the beginning. He is personal friends with the Clintons, or he was. He's an old school New York Democrat, and I've always been really concerned. Or an old school New York person. They think differently. Country mouse and city mouse. And so a lot of us have expressed concern that Trump gets reelected, which looks very probable as long as he's not actually convicted and fully impeached or removed from office, I guess is what I'm saying. And then he's going to, turn over the leaf that has the old leaf underneath it and just steamroll things. So anyway, I shall link to the text of the determination, not the letter. All right, Mr. Gixer, if I can find that, I will link it. Owners should file a class action lawsuit against the ATF for violation of the Fourth Amendment. Absolutely. And once again, I may be reading it wrong, but I also believe that it's a violation of the Eighth Amendment because the government is requiring the destruction of personal property without offering monetary recompense. So, fortunately, Fostech is stepping up. I think that anybody who would destroy their Origin SBV is being foolish. Nope. I was getting ready to say something that, no, I don't need flagged. I was just going to say something about if you're not the first owner, if you purchased an SBV secondhand, you'll either fill in the blanks there or you won't. Okay. We the people haven't been in charge since Woodrow Wilson. Line 2A topic tonight is because of him. You order the ATF to go rogue bump stock ban. Okay. All right, and I'm caught up. Really good discussion here. Mr. Gixer, let me see if Fostech Origin Here's the thing, though. Are you talking about the original determination letter or the redetermination letter? Because I don't see that they ever could have sold them in the first place if they didn't have a determination that it was a firearm. So sorry, I'm checking some links here. Sorry, I'm reading on my other screen. I'm not ignoring you guys. Okay. I have found, Mr. Gixer, a copy of, I think it's what you're looking for. It has U.S. Department of Justice letterhead on it. One moment. So we're going to save that in my downloads, and we're going to add this in here. So, one second, please. Please hold. And all right, transition, and there it is up on your screen. And that is, I found that here. Let me just give you the link here. I got that from the firearm blog. So there's a copy of the letter that Fostech has sent out. I think they included that if you had the SBV, they did proactively contact customers wherever they could. So I think they're doing everything they can to keep it right. So yeah. Left a few comments and they got signed out, and comments are not here. Uh, 2A, anytime that I've gotten a notification that I needed to approve a comment, by the way, I have approved it. So yeah, I'm not. I have yet to get a comment that I disallowed, because I'm not necessarily about censorship, guys. I don't have to agree with what you have to say to recognize your right to say it. Isn't that crazy? That's something that so many people don't understand. Coffee or tea. Yeah, oh yeah. Elias did reach out to Fostech, so I'll let him. And Elias, I'm gonna guess that they are probably suing the ATF. I remember that Franklin Armory said that they were working with their legal department in the letter that I saw from them. So, and they've probably teamed up with Gun Owners of America. Again, GOA. GOA is a no-nonsense group. There's a reason that you'll find a link to them in every video. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I said that. Gun Owners of America, their lifetime membership is still $500 until next month. I logged in looking for on their legal briefs and stuff, and they had that on their homepage. So if you're an annual or a multi-year GOA member and you've been thinking about a lifetime membership, now is the time to do it if you don't want to pay the increased rate. And they said on there, I think it's going to double. I think it's going to be $1,000 now for lifetime, guys. So not that they're not an organization worth supporting $1,000, but $1,000 will also buy a lot of guns and ammo. So I also support Firearms Policy Coalition. I support Second Amendment Foundation. So and if you if you want to, you've got to really, like, don't put www, don't put .com, .org. If you want to throw, like, if you support a Pro 2A group and you want to throw it in the chat and be like, gun owners, just, you have to do it like that. So, like, I think it's gunowners.org. If you just do that, it'll give us enough to Google, because I'm sure you've noticed that you can't share links in the live chat. I can. If I assign mods, they can. So anyway, 2A, I don't think that you would, but you said something about comments getting deleted, so I just wanted to let you guys know it would definitely be the YouTube overlords, especially with their new live stream. I wonder, I ought to reach up here and act like I'm grabbing this AR that's in the background just to watch them lose their minds. So, speaking of which, over my left shoulder is the poor AR that will be abused with nothing but steel-cased ammo and no cleaning. And I figured out that I think I figured out, because what my plan was is after it locks up, I was going to break it down on a live stream and clean it while I was talking with you guys and you know, if I'm fouling that thing up that badly for you guys, it's only fair that you guys watch me clean it. Obviously now I cannot handle a firearm in a live stream. I looked at the policy and I don't see anything about firearms parts. So this is, you know, way in the future anyway, because right now I haven't even started putting the first case of ammo through it. But my plan is I will have it broken down before I start the stream. I'll get some close-up pictures that I can roll in, and then we can still do that, and we can, you know, take a look at the bolt. We can take a look, you know, down the bore maybe, and I can still clean it on the live chat. And according to the law, as long as I don't touch the lower receiver, I'm not handling a firearm. So anyway, so, oh man, 2A, that's awesome. So, you know, if you're gonna make a shout out like that, if anybody does want to help support the channel, you can do that over on Patreon at patreon.com/tacticalreview. And yeah, that'd be amazing, guys. I've got at least one supporter right now. Been able to use that to buy a couple small things, so it really do a shooter's lube commercial with it when you clean it. That's a good idea. Actually, but the thing is, poor conservative, I don't use shooter's lube. Right now I am using can't hang on, I can reach it. I happen to have my range bag right here. I'm going to the range tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Right now I'm using Lucas Heavy Duty Gun Oil, and the reason I'm using Lucas Heavy Duty Gun Oil is because of this bottle. Because when I'm done, I'm going to refill this bottle, and what I'm planning on using is anytime I do an oil change in my car, whatever's left clean in the bottle, I'm going to drain back into here, and that's what I'm going to use. 2A, you're amazing, dude. Thank you so much. Now I got to quit slacking, and I've definitely got to get my videos up early so that you have early access for being a Patreon supporter. I had to shortchange them this week. As a matter of fact, I haven't even put the link up for my most recent video. So anyway, but not a chance of giving Eric that much of your money, poor conservative. You know, and that's fine. Like I said, the only reason this past year I considered joining NRA, and that's when I found out about all the kerfluffle of NRA, but I was thinking about going to NRAM in Indy, and you have to be an NRA member to get in. So, and that'll be coming up here soon, and so I'll once again have a decision to make. So, catching up on you Shooters Lube ad bombs Instagram. I don't get so much Shooters Lube. I get Black Rifle Coffee is one of the main ads that I see, and I get a lot of content from Gun Owners of America, but that's because I follow Gun Owners of America official, not because I'm seeing ads. Shooters Lube. So, well, 2A, I've actually got content that I need to edit up. I cut, as long as my videos can get, I cut hours of footage just trying to get my videos down to a reasonable length. You know, I've heard Hank Strange say that he doesn't like to edit, and if I didn't edit my videos, nobody would watch them. Because they'd be like 3 hours long. So as it is, hang on, I'm trying to get my my raw, or my folder that has all of my tactical review footage, my raw footage, any of the infographics that I've made, and then my final footage. I've already got 300 terabytes nearly of tactical review footage, so I'm gonna have to buy another hard drive. But yeah, anyway, so definitely though, throw your support behind groups that can get out there. It may be channels like ours who are screaming from the rooftops trying to get people seeing and knowing and understanding about these issues, but it's unfortunately, as you guys have covered ad nauseum in the chat, we don't have the clout. It shouldn't be that way. We, the people, should have the clout, but in our current oligarchy, we don't have the clout to get heard at the legislative level. So that's why we do have to throw our support behind bigger organizations. So, NRA, Gun Owners, Second Amendment Foundation, Michigan Gun Owners, is that the one that I told you about? Oh, no, that was the Michigan AK Owners. Okay. And Firearms Policy Coalition. Hey, yeah, let me dig here in my wallet. So, well, there's my USCCA. That's Concealed Carriers Insurance. And I don't have my referral code for that, or I would put that back up. I had that in my first stream. And I'm not set up as a partner with anybody where you can click a link and help support the channel by doing that. But Concealed Carriers Insurance, if you would have an incident in the statistically unlikely chance, it's just, yeah. I just, after I've watched a couple of videos about them and looked into their coverages, I think it's a good idea, especially because they will also help if you get wrongfully red flagged. So, yeah, none of those are firearms groups. Hang on, I've got other ones here. I've got too much crap in my wallet, is what I got. Firearms Policy Coalition, got that one too. And Gun Owners of America. And I did, like I said, personally just became a lifetime member of Gun Owners of America. So I'll actually have a hat to cover up this bald spot that I'm getting. That'll be nice. I also have someplace to, my EDC flashlight has that handy little clip. I'll have someplace to clip that too. So, all right, what am I missing over here? Because I've basically covered everything that I know of to cover about the Reformation and the Fostech origin. I've covered where I fear that this will go next. As a matter of fact, the only thing that's going to give them any kind of pause or problem, and it won't really, with binary triggers, is the fact that they're not serialized. And the fact is, if you guys haven't watched it yet, Jerry Michalek, he released a video last week where he raced his competition lower with like a 3-pound trigger against a Fostech Origin, and he was only, I think, 3/300ths of a second faster through 6 shots with the said Origin, the Fostech Echo. He was only like 3/300ths of a second faster through 6 rounds with the Echo than he was like shouldered up and shooting and shots on target. So it's crazy. And yeah, so yes, you can shoot faster if you're training without a binary trigger. That's not going to stop them from reclassing it. And like I said, I was thinking, oh, there's no serial number, there's no record. Well, that didn't stop them with bump stocks. So the only thing that'll help is the fact that you have to take more than a single glance to tell if there's a binary trigger installed, where with a bump stock, it's obvious. And again, I'm not saying that any of this stuff is like a tactically sound device. That doesn't matter. You know, the fact that the Second Amendment is made for standing against tyranny shouldn't take away from the fact that if we want something that we enjoy, it shouldn't be regulated. Okay? Take alcohol. The government tried to regulate that in the 1920s. What happened? We all know what happened. All right? They had to repeal that amendment because it was such a disaster. And because alcohol doesn't, okay, I don't personally drink. I don't care if you do. But alcohol is literally a poison. Okay? And if you drink it and you enjoy it, that's as long as you're not out driving and hurting people, you don't get drunk and beat people, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. All right? But the point is, most of us enjoy shooting. Okay? So just because it's a tool against tyranny doesn't mean we shouldn't be able to go out and enjoy it in whatever way we want. So what if a bump stock's not a super effective tool to use against tyranny? If you want to go out to the range and play with a bump stock, it shouldn't matter. Yo, no. 2A, that's what I'm saying. I caught myself because of the no serial number thing. Because you could literally 3D print a bump stock. As a matter of fact, I watched a video where somebody did. It was after the ruling that they were going to be illegal, but before they actually were. And so he did an experiment where he 3D printed one to see if it would work as well as the store-bought ones. And then he actually burned it on camera. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to look at the comment section now. Oh, 2A, you said, yeah, I will guarantee you that you lose subs based on the whims of YouTube. How many times have you resubbed to my channel, man? Okay, and I don't for a second, not for a second, believe that you clicked the unsubscribe link. All right. As a matter of fact, earlier today, I saw the other day that I'd hit 140 subs, and I was like, yes, that's awesome. And then I looked this morning, and in YouTube Studio, even after refreshing, it said I was down to 139. But then I looked someplace else, and it said 140. And then I pulled up my channel in a private browser tab, and I had 141. I don't know, dude. So you may or may not have had a couple people unsub, and yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that people are so close-minded that we can't take any kind of criticism anymore. You know, that shirt's not the most flattering on you. Oh, you hate me. I never want to talk to you again. We are raising a culture that cannot deal with reasonable discourse. We're building a disposable society that can't deal with needing to repair something. Okay. Anyway, frustrated. Let the peasants have their booze bag. That's what. I don't like that. I think you're right. We had prohibition. We didn't have the NFA. The booze runners used automatic weapons. We gave the booze back, but we determined that the automatic weapons were the cause of the crime, as opposed to the real cause of the crime, which was the government in the first place. I don't like that at all. You're absolutely right. Don't be right. Know it all. Awesome supporters. You guys are awesome. All right, guys. This says that I've been on for an hour, and I know I was on for like 20 minutes while we were trying to get Elias rung in. Oh, hey, Elias. Do you want to post up in the chat what anything about Liberty Review, about the podcast? I know you said you were working on stuff. I didn't know if you at least, guys, Liberty Review is not backburnered. It's, life's busy. Anybody figured that out yet? I have. I'm fortunate. I have an awesome wife who, for the most part, is okay with me taking the time that it takes to do the YouTube channel, taking the time it takes to coach at the school where we work, and be part of my church's youth group, and try to have that outreach onto the next generation. And that's really awesome, and she really sacrifices. If you guys ever have a chance to meet the missus, give her a thank you, let her know that you appreciate her. And me personally, I don't feel like she's missing out on much by not having to be around me. I'm kind of a cantankerous person, IRL. But anyway, so okay, was trying to get an episode in over the last couple weeks, ended up in an auto accident, which really, yeah. Oh, guys, Elias sent me a picture of his car. He's like, that'll buff out, right? And I was looking at it. It was like from the front, and I saw the wheel, and I was like, that wheel doesn't look right. And the next day, he sends me a picture from like the front quarter view, and his front wheel was almost back to the front of his door. I was like, yeah, that'll buff right out, brother. So, anyway, recording hopefully tomorrow night. So, all right, I'm going to let chat wind down here a little bit. Guys, is there a current event that I should be talking about that I haven't? Again, and if you're not following me on social media, let me throw that up here. And most of you guys are. I see a lot of comments, especially on Instagram. I have discovered that I personally like Instagram better than Facebook, and I need a shower now. I can't believe I said that out loud. But anyway, everything I post on Insta does get copied over to Facebook, and then occasionally I find stuff on Facebook that I do only share there because it's not always super convenient to reformat it so that it'll work on Instagram, since that has to be images. But anyway, got to get my dog. I'm not going to tell her you said that. Her head's already like this big. She has more athletic ability than everybody else in the house combined, I think. Yeah, but I appreciate it. I think she does want to come back on, and I know my other daughter, we went out to the range a couple weeks ago, and I think I talked about this. We had a small situation where she violated rules 1 through 4. Yeah, so all the rules of firearm safety, and nobody was hurt, but I did have to bark at her, and she embarrasses easily, so we'll have to, but we'll see about getting her on the show too. So anyway, I'd appreciate thumbs up on the stream, and definitely if you're not subscribed to the channel, which I think everybody who's been in here are my regulars, but if you double check your subscription status, especially if you didn't get a YouTube notification for tonight's stream, because I scheduled the stream 4 hours in advance, I think. So if you never got a notification, double check your subscription and notification status. And make sure to check your favorite podcast platform for the Liberty Review, which is Elias. Again, he was planning to be live with me tonight, and technologically that did not work. So that's libertyreview1776.com, if I recall correctly. Elias, you can throw up everything except the top level domain, and YouTube should let it fly. Anyhow, so thanks everybody for joining. I think I'm going to see almost all of you tomorrow night. 2A, you're doing your stream tomorrow, right? I'll give you some time to 2A will sub again by the end of the week next week, probably. Yeah, YouTube's good like that. It's great. Hey, that's a good point though. You can go follow me over on Gunstreamer as well, just in case. Gunstreamer as a concept is a great thing, and it's friendly to use as far as that goes. It's just they don't have live stream capacity and all that. So, but you might follow the channel there just in case I get yanked suddenly from YouTube. I think 2AEDU is over there as well, because yeah, and follow him there. I have set up an account on BitChute, but again, they haven't. None of my videos have transferred, so I think I'm gonna have to manually re-upload or reach out to them for some tech support and see if we can figure out what's going on. So BitChute, not nearly as user-friendly, but probably the most 1A friendly of all of the platforms, excuse me, right now. So anyway, so we get by next week. All right, well guys, thanks so much for joining. Again, look forward to seeing most of you guys tomorrow over on 2AEDU's live stream. I don't have a basketball game to commentate this week, so I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to be there the whole time this time, 2A. And yeah, thanks a bunch for joining. Until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.